Jim, you talk about a concept that you developed, which is safe closing. And in your book, you say that it helps sales managers and salespeople generate more sales. Can
That's correct.
you let me know how that works?
Sure. It's called safe closing because it's salespeople avoiding fearful expectation. What it means is it's an acronym, obviously,
Mhm.
but what happens so many times, a B player, and they're probably a majority of most sales teams, and B players are reluctant, or new reps are reluctant to outright ask for the business. They're reluctant to say, let's get going. They're reluctant to do whatever it takes, okay, to close a sale. So we go through, and I have practiced this myself for many years, and I'm sure you have too, David, because you know selling as well as anyone. But the key is suggest and recommend. So basically, to become something more than just another vendor, you have to put the customer's priorities first and be a little consultative. I don't care what you're selling, auto parts to pre planned funerals. You have to be the consultant, the expert in that area. And you also have to understand the customer's business. By suggesting or recommending, you are becoming very consultative in your process. So, in saying, hey, may I have the order? Or let's get going, some people use that. I always have, I found it to be very successful for me and several other salespeople to adopt that consultative process and say, let me recommend that we start this. Okay.
Mhm.
When is the project due? Or let me recommend we begin it. Let me suggest we begin by doing this. Many times we'll tell our clients, let me suggest we begin the process, or we begin this project by doing this first, and then be quiet. And that's very safe. In other words, nobody's offended. You don't have to be afraid. And I'm so sick of people being offended, David, but you don't have to be afraid of getting no. You're not going to get no if you're prepared. Okay. Done your homework. It's just recommending and suggesting. That's all it is.
Okay. My experience is in line with what you said is B players do make up the largest percentage of salespeople.
They do.
And if there's a way that you can build it into your process to make it easier for them or more
Exactly.
comfortable to close the sale, everyone's going to be more successful. So that's great information.
Thanks. That's why we built Pre-Call Pro. That's why we built that software, is to help B players or underperformers and new people handle those things like closing. And it also gives the sales manager a shot at controlling all the calls, because many sales managers like yourself, when you've been in sales and in management, you cannot be with every rep every time.
Mhm. So if anybody wants to look at pre-call plan, where would they find that?
Well, they can get that through, actually, they can go to precallpro.com. It really is a portal for our users, but they can contact you, and then you can forward them on to us too, and
Okay.
we can do it. I would recommend they contact you, and if they're interested in taking a look at that, there's nothing like it. And I'm not kidding. There's nothing like it.
Just can you real quick give them just like a 30-second synopsis of what that does for them?
So what it does is that each company is able to customize their own sales process. We set it up, we build it, and what we do is we take questions, we populate it for each stage of the sales process. What questions reps should ask? Okay, so when they're prospecting, what questions should they ask of the people? When they're interviewing, if what questions should they be asked? And the system also keeps reps are able to put their own questions in, but the system also keeps track of all the questions asked. So we can hone in on the most successful questions from A players and highly successful B players so everyone can use it. What it does, it cuts down, it compresses, in your words, it compresses the sales cycle. And it also has a call reporting function, all kinds of stuff. But if they're interested, it's great for ramping up new reps. I mean, we can cut ramp up time on new reps and marginal performers significantly.